All right, everybody, it's Saturday. You've made it through another week and only one more week to go until next Saturday. And this is we're here in Micanopy today. And unfortunately, they won't let us film inside this antique mall. But it's nice in there. Me and the driver formerly known as James just went in. And the driver formerly known as James got this little girl with bunnies, and it's painted on a tile. That's like a ceramic tile in a wood frame. And for $2 I got this Jerry Rice. You can't really see it because it's in the stickers on the top loader, but this Jerry Rice second year card, so I think that's his second year. Yeah, 87, second year Jerry Rice. I don't really collect football cards anymore, but for $2, why not? $1 for every year he played in the league up to that point. All right, so we are going to go now and do our Saturday drive in Micanopy. And there's still no real progress on the Taco Bell and Interlocking, so we'll skip doing an Interlocking this week and do it, somewhere else that we haven't done. So Micanopy is famous for a few things off the top of my head. It's antiquing. There is this antique mall right here, which is on the outskirts of Micanopy. And then the historic town itself, which is filled with antique shops. It is also famous for being the filming location of the movie Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox. I talked about that in a Saturday drive a few Saturdays ago. I think the only other thing I can think of off the top of my head is that it was name dropped in the John Anderson song Seminole Wind. Blow, blow, blow all the way up to Micanopy. I'm sure you've heard that song, Seminole Wind. Anyway, we're now going to ride down to the historic town of Micanopy, and we're going to check it out. And I'll point out some of the filming locations from Doc Hollywood, although there's a million YouTube videos of that go in depth with it, and I don't really feel the need to. But I will point out a few things. Back in the early 90s when they were filming that movie, my dad came here with the VHS camcorder and shot a video of them filming it. Unfortunately, I don't have that tape on hand. I know we still have it. It's in storage, but maybe one day I'll dig that tape out and upload it. It would just be cool for people to see, the behind the scenes of it. Let's see if I can get that sign. Historic Micanopy, founded in 1821. So we're going to drive down and check it out. So here is a little school they have here. And I apologize for any spots and streaks on the windshield. I tried to clean it with vinegar and I think I made it real streaky, but probably better than dirty, right? And that is a very cute little house. So the driver formerly known as James loves the town of Micanopy and all the trees and how they hang over the road. There's somebody out, looks like they're either fixing their roof or putting up Christmas decorations. Not sure which. And there is the Micanopy water plant. Micanopy Fire and Rescue. famous trees overhanging the road. Gives it a nice cinematic canopy. And let's see, it is 2:23 in the afternoon, and it looks like it's evening time. It has been this way for like the past 2 weeks now. We have no daylight. Watch yourself, birdie. Jeff Gordon's driving. And let's see, we're now about, well, still a little ways down, but you can maybe see at the end of this road begins the fictional town of Grady, South Carolina, as it was known in the movie Doc Hollywood. And I tried to get some good clips of Doc Hollywood to insert in this video, but I couldn't really find any. So I guess hang a right, and then we'll go back down this street, and then we'll go back down and just show the town of Micanopy. Now, back in the late 80s and the early 90s, you could come here. This place was loaded with like vintage Star Wars toys, G.I. Joe, old wrestling figures, because, you know, toy collecting wasn't really that big back then. And everybody was looking for baseball cards and comic books back then. So you can find all these vintage toys for like $2 a figure. And that is a nice house. Of course, as toys have become more sought after, more scarce, and more valuable, you won't find many vintage toys here. Me and the driver formerly known as James came here about 4 or 5 years ago, and the only really vintage toy that I found was a Love Boat figure. You know, Amigo Love Boat figure. It was a carded gopher for like 50 bucks, and I passed on it. Now that store right there, I know in particular had a bunch of vintage toys in it back in the late 80s, early 90s, but it no longer does. This is called the Outpost. Lots of neat little stores here. All right, here's one thing I'm going to point out to you. This is the hospital in the movie Doc Hollywood. So that is where all the hospital scenes took place, outside and inside. Okay, now we're going to drive back down this way, and we're going to turn around and come back and do the part, you know, just a few of the little shops that we didn't show you, but we'll drive down. Micanopy's a neat little town, so we'll show it all. And there's some kind of a secret society lodge and an antique store. And this is the museum up here. Again, we're not going to go into the museum today, but maybe one day we'll come back and go in and do the museum. There's Mosswood Farm store. Let's see. Driver formerly known as James, turn around in here. Yeah, we'll just turn around and go back. We're now coming up to Highway 441, which goes to Gainesville that way. But we're going to now drive back through and show you the stuff on this side of the road that you didn't see prior. Now, Jeff Gordon, let's go a little slow by this house. They still have their Halloween decorations up. The big skeleton. That's one of them 12-foot skeletons I've heard so much about. It's a neat old house in Jack Skellington. That house is a Halloween decoration itself. And here's the Micanopy Town Hall and Library. Very cool looking. Yeah, this is just a neat little town. A little something different than Interlachen. And there is the Alachua County Fire Rescue. And they got a nice basketball court. And now we're just going to drive through, again, the fictional town of Grady, South Carolina, which in reality is Micanopy, Florida. Please keep all arms and limbs inside the ride at all times. So yeah, I also wanted to say that we knew a guy who was in Dock Hollywood from Interlachen. He was the paper delivery guy, and his name was Park. I can't remember his last name, but I do believe he's in the credits. He was one of, I think he was called the Belly Dancers. And this is one thing I was looking for a clip of and couldn't find, but they have a parade. It's called the Grady Squash Festival. And he was in that. And basically it was him and two other guys with really big bellies that had a top hat, a large top hat pulled over their heads and down to their shoulders. And faces were drawn on their bellies. So if you ever watch that movie and see that scene, I knew one of those guys. Sure did. That's a cool tie-dye flag right there. Now this right here where it says garage was the movie theater in Dock Hollywood. And more little antique shops, and we're about now to where I already filmed. So we're going to shut this off. Me and the driver, formerly known as James, are going to drive down and see if we can see some alligators at Paynes Prairie. So stick around and we'll show you that. We'll tack it on to the end of this. We'll be right back. One other thing I was going to mention is that somewhere out here, River Phoenix and Joaquin Phoenix lived when they were kids, and I knew once upon a time where it was, but I don't have an exact memory of where it's at now. So, but it was out here somewhere. All right, we're gonna turn around now and go check out the Paynes Prairie Preserve. So stick and stay for that. We'll be tacking it right on here. Be with you in a sec. Okay, and this is the Paynes Prairie observation deck, right outside of Gainesville. You know, sometimes you can see gators here. Since I have a camera in hand, there will be no gators, I'm sure. Oh, that's neat. They have a dial and discover cell phone audio guide. How cool is that? And here's the little kiosk they have. And I really don't think anyone's interested in that. Can't fish here, and you can't feed the gators. And there's your usual Florida don't get yourself gator bit warning sign. Alright, let's walk out here on this deck and see if we can't see a gator. Okay, it is a brisk 63 degrees out today. Awful cold for Florida. So gators are probably keeping warm somewhere and not going to be out where we could see one, but we're just going to walk out here. And I feel a little breeze, so if there's wind noise, I apologize. And I was like, I'm gonna get a windsock for this camera, but this camera doesn't have anywhere to even put one, so. And this is the farthest point of the observation deck. Ooh, a little bird just swallowed him a fish. He just went underwater. Ain't that pretty though? The driver formerly known as James is calling me. Okay, and thanks to the driver formerly known as James Good Eye, we have an alligator. Looks like a pretty big girl right there, big boy. Yeah, I didn't think there'd be any out here due to the weather, but I guess it's not that cold enough that they've run for the hills, so. And that marks my first gator that I've captured in the wild. Very cool. And where there's one, there's usually more, but they're probably all underwater or in them weeds. So yeah, this is the Paynes Prairie observation deck just outside of Gainesville, so, and just outside of Micanopy that we just came from as well. So I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Saturday. I don't know if we'll do it, go somewhere else, or do it in Interlachen, so we'll see what happens. I think it's kind of neat to do the Saturday drive somewhere besides Interlachen, so we will see you next Saturday on the Saturday drive. Peace out.